Today we're going to Peckham to look at a true titan of British comedy, Only Fools and Horses. For decades the dodgy schemes of Boy and Rodney Trotter have defined the mange tout spirit of the working class, giving us some of the most iconic moments in television history. But does every episode truly hold up as lovely jubbly by modern standards? In this video we're breaking down the genius of John Sullivan's writing and the legendary chemistry of the cast, while also taking an honest look at the dated tropes and the hit or miss later specials that complicate its legacy. Is it still a masterpiece, or has the yellow three-wheeler finally run out of road? After 4 successful series, John Sullivan had decided to stop writing Citizen Smith as he had run out of ideas. He proposed a new sitcom idea about a football manager to BBC bosses, Over the Moon, and a pilot was made. The BBC liked it, but there was a problem. Citizen Smith star Robert Lindsay had just been cast as a boxer in Seconds Out, and BBC One controller Bill Cotton didn't want another sport-based sitcom, so he decided to kill off Over the Moon. Understandably, Sullivan was sick as a parrot and was commiserating with producer and director Ray Butt when he told Ray of an idea he'd had about a South London street trader. Reddy's was about a wheeler-dealer, the type who would sell his own mother for the right price. Within weeks, Sullivan had written a script, and BBC head of comedy John Howard Davis gave Ray Butt the green light. Sullivan changed the title to Only Fools and Horses, which had been the title of a 1979 Citizen Smith episode, because he felt it summed up the character of Derek Trotter, whose philosophy in life reflected the saying that only fools and horses work. Only Fools and Horses consistently tops polls as the nation's favourite. However, even a show of its stature has elements that divide opinion, particularly as it evolved over its long run. Significant reason for Only Fools and Horses' enduring appeal is its blend of hilarious slapstick and witty one-liners with genuine emotional depth and pathos. Viewers love the realistic portrayal of the Trotters' struggles, their unwavering loyalty and the bittersweet moments when their dreams were dashed. This made the characters feel more real and invested the audience emotionally. This is despite Del regularly telling Rodney he would share everything, give him half of the profits of the current scheme, only to lie about how much had been earned and give Rodney significantly less of the proceeds. Derek often told Rodney about something their mother said on her deathbed, usually in order to convince Rodney to come over to Del's way of thinking. As early as season 2, Rodney realised his mother had a lot to say on her deathbed. Some viewers felt that the show became overly sentimental in its later years, particularly those who preferred the earlier, more comedic seasons. They preferred the emphasis on chaotic schemes, pure farce, quick gags, finding the increased focus on Del's dashed hopes, Rodney's relationship troubles, or the sadder aspects of Uncle Albert's life, and a departure from what they initially loved about the show. The core trio, Del, Rodney and Grandad or Uncle Albert, are among the most iconic characters in British television history. Fans adored their evolving relationships, the constant power struggle between Del Boy and Rodney, and the addition of Uncle Albert, who seamlessly replaced Grandad. The gradual development of supporting characters like Boycie, Marlene, Trigger and Mike also contributed to a rich, believable world. A minor criticism from some was that certain character traits became exaggerated or repetitive over time. Del's unshakable optimism and flawed business sense, while central to his charm, could be seen as becoming predictable. He never seemed to pay his bar tab, and there was barely any complaint from the bar staff who served Del's increasingly outlandish drink preferences. Similarly, Rodney's naivety or Trigger's unchanging persona, while beloved, might have been seen by some as too static. From season 4 onwards, starting with Happy Returns in 1985, episodes typically extended from the standard 30 minutes to around 45 to 50 minutes. This was largely seen as a positive move by most fans, despite BBC sitcoms already being in the region of 28 minutes for a half-hour slot, whereas ITV sitcoms were about 22 minutes to allow for commercial breaks. The longer episodes allowed Sullivan more room to develop complex storylines, incorporate more subplots and let the comedic situations unfold naturally without being rushed. It facilitated the deeper character development and the blend of comedy and drama that the show became known for. Some viewers felt that longer episodes occasionally dragged or had moments that could have been trimmed for tighter comedic pacing, particularly if they preferred the punchier gag per minute style of the earlier sitcoms. However, this is a relatively rare complaint for Only Fools. In principle, the show has 7 seasons from 1981 to 1991, followed by almost yearly Christmas specials up to 2003. However, the show nearly ended in 1986 due to David Jason announcing he wanted to leave. Then he changed his mind. In 1996, there was a trilogy of specials over the Christmas period, culminating in Del's long-time dream of becoming a millionaire turning into reality when the antique watch was sold. For many, this was the ultimate triumph and a deeply satisfying conclusion to their journey. It provided a powerful emotional payoff to years of rooting for the underdog. For others, achieving wealth fundamentally undermined the show's core premise, the working class struggle and the dreams of getting rich. Once they were millionaires, the central conflict and relatable aspirations were gone. Many felt the show should have ended with time on our hands. There were 3 more Christmas specials in 2001, 2002 and 2003. Even in these later episodes, the chemistry between Del and Rodney remained strong and there were still moments of classic humour. For many, simply seeing the Trotters back on screen was enough, fuelled by nostalgia and affection for the characters. These later specials are most frequently cited as being inferior to the show's golden era. Critics and many long-time fans felt the plots were weaker, more contrived, less funny. The humour was seen as relying too heavily on established tropes rather than fresh material. The storylines felt like a desperate attempt to create new dilemmas for characters who had already achieved their ultimate goal. The disparity between the lack of consequence for Del and Rodney's dodgy dealings and the reality of such activities is a classic example of how sitcoms often bend or ignore real-world implications for comedic and narrative purposes. Sitcoms thrive on consistent character traits and recurring gags. Del's perpetual optimism, his wheeling and dealing, and the constant stream of questionable merchandise are central to his character and the show's humour. Introducing serious, lasting consequences would fundamentally alter the show's tone and disrupt the comedic formula. Viewers are meant to root for Del and Rodney despite their flaws. Seeing them face harsh legal repercussions would make them less sympathetic and could be depressing, going against the light-hearted nature of a sitcom. Avoiding serious legal trouble allows for a wider range of comedic scenarios. If they were constantly in prison, many of their iconic adventures, like the hooky watches, the talking dolls, the camcorders, etc., wouldn't be possible. Sitcoms offer a form of escapism. Audiences don't necessarily want to see the grim reality of petty crime. They want to laugh at their characters' predicaments and cheer for their eventual, often undeserved, triumphs. The dodgy products are often presented in a way that emphasises their absurdity and the characters' incompetence rather than their criminality. The stakes are usually low level, embarrassment or financial loss, not severe legal penalties. But there are exceptions. The episodes where DCI Roy Slater appears serve as a subtle nod to the potential consequences. Slater's presence always makes Del nervous. However, even then, the resolutions tend to be comedic, with Del outsmarting Slater or escaping consequences through sheer luck or a loophole. This reinforces the sitcom's commitment to avoiding realistic, long-term repercussions. We rarely see a queue forming for Del's toy dogs or the infrared pain relief lamps at the market, and yet he's always got a wad of cash. This is achieved through a few sitcom conventions. The show implies that Del does make sales between episodes, or even within episodes, while the audience sees the other characters' activities. Despite the dodgy nature of his goods, Del Boy is a master salesman. His patter, his cushy deals and his sheer determination often win over customers, even if those moments aren't always shown in full. It's a testament to his character that he can shift such seemingly unsellable items. Only Fools and Horses experienced a remarkable journey in terms of audience ratings, starting from a relatively low point and eventually becoming one of the most watched programmes in British television history. When Only Fools and Horses first aired in 1981, it was not an immediate hit. The initial viewing figures were modest by the standards of the time. The first series, despite its later acclaim, reportedly had around 7.9 million viewers per episode. While this would be considered excellent today, it was not deemed great in the early 1980s, and the show was almost not recommissioned for a second series. As the series progressed, Only Fools and Horses built a loyal and massive following, consistently achieving very high ratings, particularly for its Christmas specials. The pinnacle of the show's viewing figures came with the 1996 Christmas special Time on Our Hands. This episode, which saw the Trotters finally become millionaires after auctioning an antique watch, attracted an astonishing 24.35 million viewers. In essence, Only Fools and Horses defied a slow start to become a broadcasting phenomenon, demonstrating the power of strong writing and character development to capture the nation's imagination and achieve truly exceptional viewing figures. Whether you view Del Boy's Fall Through the Bar as the pinnacle of British comedy or think the show's later specials leaned a little bit too hard into sentimentality, there's no denying the cultural footprint of Only Fools and Horses. It's a series that gave us characters and catchphrases that are still remembered decades later. What's your take? Was the Batman and Robin sequence genius or overplayed? Let me know your favourite or most loathed moments in the comments below. Cheers for watching, and as Del would say, bonjour.